All right, Save the World's been going off. I definitely appreciate it though, because it's motivating me to start again posting on my main channel with like opinionated pieces rather than just react to like news and whatnot. So I love all these new rap channels who are, I don't know, they're creating a new space. I feel like the rap space in YouTube has been kind of dead for a while, so a lot of people have moved out and done like non-rap content. But regardless, this video has been going up: why Carti thrives and Trippie Redd fails. Now, we've discussed this in the past where like Trippie probably feels some sort of way about how he's not in the same respect category as Uzi and Carti. Like he's not as at least perceivingly as influential as them because they hit a certain level, and Trippie does have big hits as well. So by that metric, they're kind of in the same category. But again, people just on social media don't give him the same level of respect because I guess he gives out his cosigns, or like maybe he drops too often, or for some reason, like why his reputation or his career isn't on the same trajectory as Carti and Uzi. So let's see what Save the World says.
I'm talking about only certain rappers, and for certain communities I'm just not really tapped in like that. So I was absolutely shocked when I really opened my eyes and saw that for like the past year, Trippie Redd has had a huge hate campaign against him by fans, creators.
Facts. But at the same time, I don't think that his music is at the same level. Like people just don't care as much about the emo rap songs and all that. And again, like with Mansion Music and Trip at Night, he was making trendy music, which was good because it was on this rage sound. And I feel like Trippie, again, doesn't get the same respect as being one of the pioneers of the rage sound. Yeah. So he actually, like, I don't know who created this rage term, but I remember I was calling it rage music at the beginning because the one snippet called Miss the Rage, so it kind of just like made sense. And so Fago is also one of the pioneers that doesn't really get talked about. It's usually just Carti influenced this whole game to rap on a whole lot of red beats, but in all reality, like Miss the Rage was Trippie's song, and then Carti hopped on it later. So Trippie was one of the first people, again, with Fago on Off the Map.
They're probably even hating on that nigga on fucking Planet Namek right now. I even asked y'all how y'all felt about Trippie Redd on Instagram, and almost all the responses were overwhelmingly negative. Outside of his core fan base, niggas are just not rocking with Trippie Redd. But at the same time, the Playboy Carti Opium Meat Rider wave is at an all-time high. Millions of new fans have hopped on the bandwagon. Every artist is copying them. So why are Playboy Carti and Opium continuously getting worshipped as like these revolutionary?
Maybe it's something to do with what we talk about Uzi, where he just needs to start a label and officially put on artists. And I know he has this 1400 Entertainment, which K-Suave and maybe some other artists underneath Trippie, but it's not official yet. So like he hasn't really put them on to the same extent business wise as Carti has. And same thing with Uzi. And when you have like little minions underneath you that are signed to you, that kind of spreads your influence wider than just you yourself. It's like when you start a business, it's much more efficient when you start hiring people because you can make like 15 phone calls per person, so you can get more business like overall, rather than if you're just doing all the work. So
artist, the face of this new generation, while Trippie Redd is constantly getting called corny, washed up, and having people question whether or not he still has that star power, even when he's still pulling in great numbers on paper. Well, first we have to talk about the narrative around Trippie Redd. Okay, so I'm about to say this, and I really want you guys to take this in and think about this. Artists don't really run their own careers or even determine their own future. The internet really does that for them. Whatever.
Facts. Like a lot of people ask me about making a YouTube channel or like starting music, and they're like, they want to be seen a certain way. And I'm like, you don't really have control of how people see you as much as you think you do. So you kind of just got to do what you believe, like make the music you want or make the type of videos you want. And then people will take that with like, they'll call you corny or whatever. You can't really control other people's interpretations. And that's why hate is like just not relevant whatsoever either.
Whatever niggas on social media say about you as an artist, that's the trajectory your career is going in. Like with Roddy Ricch, once niggas perceive you as washed up and lame, it's over for you. This man started an IG live, and as soon as he started playing new music, thousands of niggas left. Twitter immediately posted the video around to make fun of him. Trippie Redd literally
But again, I feel like if you just make good music, that kind of just carries it forward. If you're not making good music, it's ammo for people to shit on it. So that's ultimately what it comes down to. All these other antics and everything don't really matter. They actually hurt you. Yes, you'll grow in the short term, but then long term, it'll just be seen as a gimmick or you're corny.
Doesn't help himself in this case. Like, he makes it pretty easy for people to call him corny. For example, he's notorious for copying Carti's swag. And even if he wasn't really copying Carti's swag, because let's be honest, Carti didn't fucking invent Rick Boot.
Facts. Yeah, I that's why I always say with these bigger artists or even just underground artists, like, I understand that Carti didn't create necessarily the aesthetics or, you know, certain sounds, but he did popularize it because he was the first person to really make it their brand. But if you're copying it or you're doing the same thing, like, you got to do something completely different so nobody can tell you that you're copying, because that's the easiest ammo for someone to hate on you.
And clown makeup. But obviously the internet is gonna take it at face value, and if they can use it to put another nigga down, they're gonna do it. Like, that's just how it works. Trippie Redd at this point in time in his career is always being discussed within the context of these negative narratives. Like, for example, his new album is about to drop, and instead of just letting people be excited for the album, every time Trippie's about to drop something new, there's always this conversation of, is this album gonna make or break his career? Or is this album gonna flop? Is it over for Trippie Redd? So even if the album comes out and the music is absolutely 10 out of 10 flawless, it won't even matter, because the music quality doesn't matter as much. And
yeah, that's unfortunate, because I mean, I know I talk about the good music and everything, but I do still think that's the thing. If the music is at a 10 out of 10, his career will flourish again, because I feel like he's had multiple lives within his rap career. However, music is so subjective that even if it is a 10 out of 10, like, say objectively, people are just gonna force themselves not to like it just because they don't like the person. So I think that having people like you is one of the most important things, because say like with Carti, if he drops like literally just him shitting on a toilet, we talk about this all the time, people are gonna force themselves to like it just because he literally runs shit.
Niggas will just keep spamming mid under every song and keep saying Trippie fell off and scrutinizing how many fucking sales or streams he has. But of course, that's just the hypothetical, because the music that Trippie's been dropping recently, niggas are not rocking with that either. Usually rappers have like 1 or 2 controversial albums that people are conflicted on. And some rappers have that one album that people agree is like the worst one or a huge miss. Trippie Redd has like 15.
See, with Kanye, he has so much credibility or the reputation of making great music that he can drop trash and then people still won't care because they love Kanye, where they'll just be like, oh, we'll just write that one off as an L, but like, we know that you're capable of something else. But with other artists, like, they don't give that same like wiggle room of having an L.
So let's go over them and see, are they really that bad? I remember when this came out and niggas were saying Carti had the only good song on the album. I don't know what to do, yeah. I'm on lean, I might black out. I don't want to show her ass out.
And then it got taken off. It's a mix or something.
And Trippie Redd responded by removing the song from the whole project.
Nah, that was because of Carti, bruh. It's because he said the mix was bad. Trippie didn't take that off. I'm sure he did not want it to take it off either, because it was probably carrying the album. I think it had one of the most popular, it had the most streams out of the album. So especially with exclamation mark, which was a heavily scrutinized album by Trippie, like, people weren't fucking with it. So when you take away the best song, like, I'm sure he knew business wise that wasn't a good move. Like, he didn't do that upon his own fruition.
Again, you're not helping your case, buddy. Honestly, you niggas are overreacting. The album is not bad at all. I
didn't think it was that bad. There was a couple songs that I liked out of exclamation mark. It may have not had, like, I feel like when Trippie does more of old school type songs, like people just ain't messing with it because he came out with such a unique, like unorthodox type sound where when you go back to more traditional hip-hop music, it's just like that's not the fan base that you created, so of course they're not going to like that.
The songs could be a little trimmed down, but honestly, the overall vibe of the project is not that bad. I don't get why niggas was hating on this, honestly. If I was forced to play just this album for a month, I would not be that mad.
Oh, brother, this guy's...
Pegasus was not that great, but again, there were a couple songs like the one with Future that were okay.
Stinks!
I need to give a Batman level interrogation for the nigga who told Trippie it would be a good idea to have this project be 30.
But even the cover art was like, he was on a horse, like, bro, you know what people are gonna say about that, but in all reality, that sometimes that can help with like the memes and whatnot, but again, because he has this negative connotation or reputation, the memes aren't gonna help. It's almost like, I know that all publicity is good publicity, and that, or at least that's what people say. However, not always. It's actually not true, if you ask me. In that, because if you get clowned too much as a rapper, you're supposed to be this like superstar, godlike character to a lot of these fans, and so like people will literally just not listen to Trippie because they think other people will call them corny. That's how it is. That's how humans are. You can't, it might be wrong, but we're social creatures.
30 fucking songs. The beats are literally indistinguishable from each other. He sings in almost the exact same way for almost 2 hours about the exact same shit. Some of the songs are cool, like V12, but most of this project should have never left this nigga's laptop.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I actually like Mansion Music. I thought it was a good tape. It wasn't like necessarily a good like album, let's say. Like it was just a compilation of rager songs, maybe not rage, but like, you know, it was kind of like Trip at Night in a way, but it was more trap instead of just trendy rage music that was super popular at the time. However, like again, people are just always going to hate on Trippie.
Usually when I see a project getting called unanimous...
Wait. I have one thing last to say. Similar to the exclamation mark album, so Carti got taken off that album and then people started hating on it. I'm saying if Carti was actually on Mansion Music like he was supposed to be, and yes, he was on one of the features for, I think it was like the Mansion Music song that's on the album, I feel like the trajectory of the album would not have been as bad. Like people would be like, oh yes, Carti's on the feature, like this is the best album ever, like that was the best song. Like it would have carried the streams and nobody would, maybe they say he got carried but by like a feature, but still it just, people would have not hated it as much, you know, especially if you get the cosign from Carti. It just helps everything. We see what happens with this artist. You just being associated with him, their whole careers are built off that.
Trash. I don't really look that deep into it because, you know, niggas like to overhate shit for fun. But I'm gonna be completely honest. You niggas are right. This shit sucks. The features are absolute ass. The vibe for each song is pretty much the same. And Trippie's verses are so generic, it's pretty hard to get through this. And for some reason, he has so many songs on here and they're all fucking terrible. So we know that
he did put a lot of features on there. But again, that's why I think it was like a tape. It wasn't necessarily a whole fleshed out theme or concept. It was just like, let me drop. He was trying to drop it around Christmas, I believe, or New Year's. It was one of the first albums of the year. I just feel bad for Trippie.
Trippie Redd has been having problems with his overall image and generally just his quality of music. But why exactly is someone like Carti praised and Trippie Redd isn't? A lot of niggas say the reason Carti is so successful is because he's mysterious and has a cult following, and that doesn't really mean shit. You're not explaining anything really, you're just repeating what everyone else says. Here's the simplest explanation.
I think the mysterious shit does work, but there are a lot of artists who try to be mysterious. You have to have like the extra, I don't know, sense of being interesting Because if you're an underground rapper and you go away for 2 years, people are gonna forget about you. But Carti has the, I don't know, I guess it's just the unique sounds of every single project. So when he comes back, it's gonna be something mind altering. And so that's with the combo of that plus the mysteriousness is what it is.
The reason the mysterious persona works so well for Carti is because he doesn't give fans an opportunity to build up these huge narratives about him being corny or falling off or anything negative in general. Like, he gave his pregnant girlfriend a Homelander Omni-Man level beatdown, kept it completely under wraps, and by the time people found out, as fucked up as it is, people just really didn't care. Trippie Redd has simply given the community way too much ammo, way too much shit to attack him with, and Carti just doesn't do that. But listen to this.
I'm trying to figure out, because I feel like a lot of people do think Carti's corny outside of the fan base. Sometimes I literally think it's random. Like, I think that sometimes people just got that it factor where they're seen as cool. Like, you see this at school all the time. Just for some reason, people think one dude is super cool. I'm not trying to like bring up any, bad, because I wasn't like bullied or anything in school. Now people are in the comments gonna be saying shit, but like, just for some reason, Carti's seen as cool. So therefore, even when there is bad news that comes out, like, it's seen as like, haha, he beat his girl and nobody really cares. But if Trippie did that, like, he'd be canceled instantly.
And really listen to this. Hype for artists right now is like a fucking monkey see, monkey do system. If everyone on Twitter came out right now and said Opium was corny and lame and started canceling Carti for being like a woman beater and like Bino for being a predator, then everyone would drop Carti the next day. They did it with...
I think that's the power of influencers, though. You got to get the right influencers on your side. And if all of the big like media outlets and whatever were dick riding like Trippie again, and the Twitter people and like just Instagram personalities and the TikTokers, like, once you get them all on your side, it's all about cosigns. Because again, humans are social beings. So yeah, right now, every like mainstream outlet is kind of not mainstream, but like the influencers not rocking with Trippie, and therefore all of the other people who like kind of base their own opinions on other people's, they're not going to rock with Trippie either. But Carti's like that guy right now. So of course, and I agree with why, though. I'm not saying that he doesn't have any foundation as to why he's the man, but yeah.
Roddy Ricch, they did it with the baby, who still somehow pulls in millions of views with 20 million followers on IG, but is still perceived as washed up. They do this to pretty much every artist eventually. So if you like any artist that people try...
And that's why, as an artist or a creator or anything, don't pay attention to the hate. Just watch the numbers. If you're getting money, if you're getting streams, that really is the only thing that matters. Because when you die, nobody really cares. You're not even there to care either. Like, you have a good life. Like, who cares if fucking random NPCs from Ohio, no offense to Ohio, are hating on you when you're living in a Beverly Hills mansion in a hot tub eating grapes from like Kylie Jenner's buns, okay?
Try to tell you is corny and washed up, then fuck them. Listen to what you like. These niggas are literally playing musical chairs with rappers' meats. But that's just how I feel about the situation. If you rock with what I'm saying and you respect it, then go ahead and subscribe and join the community. It's genuinely one of the cool...
Yeah, I agree though. It's a sad day for... Not sad day, sad year for Trippie, or like last couple of years, because I do think there is a overwhelming hate train for, I think, one of the most promising acts from like 2017. He probably was my favorite artist at one point. I do think he's lost like his unique flavor to his music, and that's why I think he's getting more hate, because he's making more like watered down. And this happens with every single artist when they go a little bit more pop, because they have to make music that appeals to a wider audience that is like less abrasive, if you will. Because like NPCs listen to Rap Caviar, they ain't gonna rock with like the grunts by Trippie Redd, even though that was his best music. So hopefully he gets it back though. I don't know, with these singles from A Love Letter to You 5 though, it seems like he's still doing the pop music. But again, he could just be doing that strategy of making music, making the money, having a good life aside from the internet personalities hating on him. But numbers wise, I guess, I don't know, it doesn't seem as good as it once was before. So the personalities, the the perception of your career can definitely affect your numbers as well, which is something to note, unfortunately.